Howdy, folks. Hope you're doing well today. We're going to be talking about CIS 2454, Web Systems Development in PHP and Java for the fall 2022 semester. Nice to meet you. I'm Eric Cherneski. This is my college email address. Feel free to email me here. This is my cell phone. I technically do have a phone on campus in my office. I just never use it, and I will only check voicemail when I'm on campus, and that's just, you don't want to wait that long, and it doesn't text message either. So use my cell phone, call or text, pretty much anytime after 10 in the morning or so is fair game, and then usually up till midnight or later. So give me a call, leave me a message if you want. If I don't answer, I'm busy and have 7 kids and stuff, but let me know what time is good to call you back, and I'll do my best to return your call as soon as I can. Some people want to be called at 11 p.m. Other people get really upset at me if I call them at 11 p.m. because that's when I'm finally sitting down to do some stuff. So, let me know what time is good, and I'll do my best to work with that. I do have some standing office hours. I have evening office hours Monday and Wednesday, and then afternoon office hours Tuesday and Thursday. If those times don't work for you, we can try meeting by appointment another time. My office is at Orchard Ridge F105, but most people just want to meet virtually because you're probably not on campus already. So our screen sharing tool is either Discord or Zoom. I do like Discord, but Zoom is perfectly fine as well. I can always fire up my Zoom room. So if you'd like to meet during office hours, send me a message and make sure I'm available then. So I do schedule these appointments with people, usually 15, 20 minutes per appointment or so with people to make sure I'm available. It's really hard to do some sort of just drop-in hours. There's the waiting room in Zoom, but then you don't really know if you're getting in, and then I have to be chatting with people while I'm trying to pay attention to other people, and it's just generally kind of a mess. So schedule appointments during the standing office hours or by appointment. I'll make sure I get you on the books and reserve that time to meet with you. We don't have any set meeting times. It's online asynchronous here, so do it at your own pace. Our classroom location is D2L, which hopefully you're here already because you found the video. The course catalog description is just a copy paste out of the catalog. Probably nothing new or interesting here. As for prereqs, it was either our Intro to Programming course or the Object-Oriented Programming course in Java. So PHP will be a brand new language for you. When we get to the Java side or the JSP side of things, that should be pretty familiar. In terms of general education outcomes, again, programming is very much an art and a science. So the art is how we apply our knowledge to the assigned task. We have a bunch of tools and techniques and things that we're going to learn to do, and we use those to solve problems. So that's definitely critical thinking. And in terms of common course outcomes, no matter who teaches the course, although it's pretty much only me here, we will cover at least these topics in certain ways and then go a little further. When it comes to email messages, I'll tell you how to do it. I won't ask you to do it because, one, putting a password into code is generally bad form, and two, there are ways to get around that, but different organizations will do it differently, have different tools or techniques for it, and it's really super easy. It's like 3 lines of code. So if you can do the rest of it, I have no concerns that you'll be able to send email messages, and then we don't have to share passwords, and life will be good. For textbooks, we have 2 textbooks, both Prereqs books. If you haven't had them before, they're actually pretty good when it comes to textbooks, not super dense or heavy. They've got a great example you can follow through. So one book for servlets and JSP, that's the 3rd edition book here, and one book for PHP and MySQL. The 4th edition here is new. If you have the 3rd edition, you should be okay. There's a couple nicer things, updates here in the 4th edition that I like. I'm a big fan of their latest, trying to keep it current here. But if you have the older one, you should be okay. Don't worry too much about it. I'll get you through. You can get them from OCC Bookstore or your favorite online bookstore or wherever you want to get them here. And then for supplemental materials, we use all sorts of tools here, which are all free, which is fantastic. So we're going to use a GitHub as the hosting provider of the Git source control tool. We'll have a whole video about that in a little bit you can take a look at. I like the GitHub desktop client. I like this because no matter what language I'm teaching, it's the same tool for communicating with Git and GitHub. Other tools have, our integrated development environments usually integrate with Git and know how to talk to GitHub, but I like the desktop client because it's the common denominator. If you like Discord for my office hours, here's my Discord server invite link. When we get to the Java side of things, we're going to use the OpenJDK because it's just pretty easy to download and use. We'll use the NetBeans integrated development environment here for both PHP and Java. And then we're going to make use of this XAMPP tool, which is really fun for using Apache, for using Tomcat, and for using the MySQL database server. So we'll get into all of those as well. And if you don't want to install them all on your personal computer, You can definitely use the virtual desktops that we have here. Take a look for this link here, depending on which operating system is. Install your Horizon VMware client and connect into the virtual desktops on campus, which are fantastic. Or if neither of those work for you, you can definitely come to campus and use the labs when the labs are open. So we've got a website you can take a look at to check out those lab hours. In terms of course policies here, I am very particular about plagiarism and cheating. I think you should not be able to cheat your way through school and get a degree. And really, it's in your best interest to make sure your fellow students don't cheat their way through, because if they get a degree from OCC and they go out in the industry and a company hires them because, hey, we have said they've learned X, Y, and Z, and they have a degree, and they should be relatively competent, and they suck at their job, they're going to think OCC did a terrible job and not want to hire other OCC graduates. So really, it devalues the degree for everyone if you cheat your way through school. So if you engage in academic dishonesty, you will fail the course and be reported to the dean's office. There is no zero further assignment. There is no try again. You will fail the class. I have a zero tolerance policy for this, and I hate cheaters. It offends me. It upsets me. You can ask my wife. I get frustrated and upset, and I complain to her about it, and then she complains that I'm complaining about it, and I should just let it go. And it's okay, whatever. Reporting into the dean's office is a pile of paperwork that I have to fill out, and it's obnoxious. I don't want to be doing that work when I could be doing actual useful work and working with you folks, helping you learn really cool things. So please just don't do it. That being said, if you're unsure if something qualifies as academic dishonesty, ask me. You have a gazillion ways to contact me. You have my cell phone number, you have my Discord, you have my email address. You could text me, right? There's lots of different ways you can contact me. There's no excuse for saying, oh, I didn't know how to do it. Okay, so under no circumstances may Chegg.com or other similar sites be used. Don't post stuff there. Don't cite answers posted there. Any use of Chegg or similar sites is considered academic misconduct immediately. Right? It is not okay. It's completely off limits. They are horrible people. They're the worst to work with, and they let people pay to cheat. They are awful. It's a terrible business model, and I hate them. They have the ability to keep my stuff from getting posted on their site, but they will only do it for a 24-hour window if I tell them it's for an exam. They will block stuff from being posted for that 24 hours, and after that they say, screw you, Eric, we're not going to stop that. Stop your stuff from getting posted. And then I have to go and get my dean to sign a form and give me a PDF that I have to turn into them to ask them to take down my material every time I find it. It is awful, and I hate it. But the one good thing is they will tell me what user uploaded it. Because generally when you post stuff for their pay for answers service, you have to register and give them money. And if you give someone money online, they generally know your name. So they'll tell me who did it, and then you'll go and fail, which is, again, a pile of paperwork for me, and I hate it. So please just don't do it. When it comes to coding, most often academic dishonesty happens to be plagiarism. Plagiarism is presenting someone else's ideas, data, words, images, or products without giving credit to the originator. This is academia. Right? You cannot turn in someone else's work and put your name on it. You can cite your source. And yes, I know there's a website named Stack Overflow. I'm very familiar with it. And programmers around the country and around the world make a lot of money using code they found on Stack Overflow. Right? But it's academia. You need to cite your source. If I give you a project that you can go and Google a solution for, that's on me. Although I will give you a caveat. Our final project is Googleable, but the Google solutions for the final project look way different than code that students write looks. So I can pretty much tell at a glance that you didn't write it. So, and I like the final project. I've gotten some feedback here. It's something familiar for some students. We could make a version of, and then it's a great talking point in interviews. Someone came and told me that they were able to land an internship when they were talking about their final project. They really impressed the hiring committee, and they really liked the work that they put into it. So I like it as a final project, even though I know there's some solutions out there. So when it comes down to that one, no, you can't turn in someone else's work, even if you cite the source. And we'll talk more about that as we get there, but don't worry too much about it. So if you find one small piece of code, one function, one method that you want to cite, fantastic. Say, hey, I got it from here. No worries. Copy paste your source in as a comment in the code, and life is good. I'm okay with that. That being said, though, you can't turn in someone else's solution and say, hey, I cited my source from here. Right? Just like in the English paper. When you're writing a research paper, you can't turn in someone else's paper and put it in one giant block quote and say, here, it's my paper. That doesn't work, right? You need to do original work, and you can build on other people's work by citing sources. You can say, hey, this person had this idea that I'm going to use and talk about, and here's my original work on top of it, my thoughts on top of it. Same goes for writing code. The other thing that happens that is academic dishonesty is the acquisition of academic materials or distribution of the same. That means taking our course material and posting it on Chegg. That is a violation of our policy and is academic dishonesty. You cannot post class material to Chegg. You have no permission to do that and is a violation of our policy, and you will fail. It is not acceptable. It's not a study guide. It doesn't help other students. It just lets people cheat. So just don't do it, okay? And life will be good. So students who aid and abet as well as attempt such behavior is also a violation of academic dishonesty. So when your classmate says, hey, can I just look at your code? I just want to see how you did it. Tell them to go get lost, because they're not just going to see how you did it. They're going to copy off of you because they're lazy, right? You are welcome to talk with each other and talk about general ideas, right? Hey, I think this was a good way of approaching a problem. The point that you're giving them code and they're copying your code or taking notes about your code, you have gone too far, right? General answers, hey, I got stuck on doing this, and you can say, hey, I think you probably want a method that would return this particular piece of data, or go query the database and go do this. Fantastic. Tell them that. That's great. We can share ideas all we want. But if you are sharing the actual code itself, we've gone too far. And again, if you're not sure, ask me. You can get a hold of me tons of different ways. Just ask me, okay? All right, that being said, sorry, I get upset and frustrated about this because I have not yet had a semester in 10 years of teaching that I've not had to fail someone. I just don't understand it. It boggles my mind. I had 8 people cheat one time on a single exam, and it just was crazy. I don't like it. It upsets me, and honestly, it devalues the degree for everyone. So I do my best to catch people cheating. It's possible I've missed people. I'm pretty sure I've missed people cheating and I didn't catch it. But it's not worth it. Just do the work, right? You're taking the class hopefully to learn something. So do the work, put the work in, learn the stuff. And if you're not sure, ask me, right? I'm going to help you with the projects and make sure you get pointed in the right direction. So you shouldn't be stuck anywhere that you would even need to cheat, okay? So we'll just all agree not to cheat. Life will be good. And maybe this semester will be the semester that no one cheats, and I'll be so happy. Our student code of conduct, this is, again, a little silly here. Remaining class until dismissed. We're an online class. It's just a copy-paste. Apologize for that. The grading policy. This is what most people care about. This is how you will get your score in the class. I use a weighted system, so these categories here make up a percentage of your total score. So of all the labs combined, it'll make up 10% of your total score. So if you don't do a single lab the entire class, you can still get 90 out of 100% in the class, which is an A-, right, without doing a single lab. So when you see points for things, the points only matter within that category, not because a lab is worth 10 points and a project is worth 10 points. They have the same weight. It doesn't work like that. So we pretty much have weekly labs. They're discussion-based labs, which has actually worked out relatively well. It's a small little practice assignment for you to try the thing we're doing and then work together with a classmate to do it better and improve and do some basic code review and bounce some ideas off of each other. So every week we'll have a lab. Generally, your first post for the lab will be due by Sunday, and then your reply to the lab will be due by Wednesday. And we'll kind of keep that tempo all throughout the semester. So we'll do something by Sunday, and you'll reply by Wednesday, because our weeks open on Thursday, midnight or so, and then they end on Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. So we've got something the first half of the week, and then something the second half of the week for the labs. Quizzes you have all week for. Project will have 2 weeks for. The midterm will be an untimed exam because I think it's silly to put some time pressure on. And then our final project makes up the bulk of the class. So you cannot pass the class without this final project. That's intentional. We're pulling everything together we've done all semester, putting together a nice, cool little package project at the end, and we're going to demo it. So I do need you folks to demo those live on Zoom so I can talk to you about it, ask you questions about it. Again, that's my way of catching people who copy-pasted some answers. If you have no idea what your code is doing, it's pretty obvious you cheated. So that sort of thing. So that's your final project. So that should make up 100% of your total score. Most of it comes from code, right? The labs are code, the projects are code, the final project is code, the midterm is half code, and then there's some quizzes. The quizzes are open book, open note, open internet, not open neighbor. I have gone back to using the test banks from the text because honestly, these are your incentive to go and read the book. Right? They're free points if you read the book or if you know where to find the answer in the book. You don't need to memorize the book. You don't even really necessarily need to read like every single word, but you need to be familiar with the information in the textbook and know where to go find that information again. Right? So there's somewhere between I've read the bold words and I've read every single word. Right? Some level of reading that you know what the sections are, you know what the content is in the section, and you understand it. That's why we have the textbook. That's your main reference here. Okay, and then this letter grade system, this is standard, copy paste out of our syllabus template, should be the same everywhere. And if you want a WS grade, so if you don't drop the class or withdraw by the withdrawal period, you have to ask me for a WS grade. By default, I can't give those out. You have to ask for it if you want the withdrawal grade. It's like a withdrawal, but it's a WS because you asked for it. I still don't quite understand all the differences here. But if you get an F, I'm going to give you an F unless you ask for the WS. Okay, you have to ask me for it. So generally, you'll get an F if you just don't turn in the final, right, and just ghost the class. That happens way more often than I would expect, and people just don't ever talk to me, and I don't understand it. But it's up to you. That's fine. For the N grade, if you don't turn anything in by week 3, you're likely to get an N grade. I'll be reaching out to you over email, asking you what's going on. Those have some financial aid implications, so please don't do that, right? And we'll be okay. For late work, I don't take anything late because solutions will be posted after stuff is due. So when we talk about the individual projects, I will post solutions to the projects after they're due, so I can't take it once it's late. So if you have some sort of emergency or you're going out of town for something, let me know. I'm happy to work with you best we can. But you have 2 weeks for everything, for all the projects at least. So generally we can, even if you're gone for a week, you can still have time to get it done. If there's some sort of emergency, I'm happy to work with you. I don't like giving alternate projects because then you have 2 projects to do and the time period to do 1. So it's not a great position to be in, but if there's some sort of emergency, I'll work with you. We'll figure it out from there. And so in terms of your privacy rights, I won't give any sort of information out over really anything. I will say go look in D2L because all your grades are in D2L, and that's where you should be the only one who has access to it there. If you need any sort of accommodations, please contact the Access Office, work with them to get your paperwork, have them send it over to me. Most of the accommodations I see tend to be around additional time on testing. All of our quizzes and exams are open book, open notes, and they are untimed aside from the due date. So you can click start and you can start working on it. You can just pause, come back to it later. As long as you get in by the due date, you're good. So you'll have a week for all of those. So generally they don't apply, but please do let me know if there's something I can do for you. Then work with the Access Office to get the paperwork in and we're good to go. Our Academic Support Center is fantastic. This is one of my favorite things about OCC. We have no additional charge tutoring. I don't like the word free because your tuition and tax dollars pay for the tutors, but there's no additional charge to meet with the tutors every time, which are awesome. So we have some tutors who can help with CIS 2454 that are fantastic. And we also have study skill seminars and other things that they offer for just learning how to be a good student. They're fantastic. So check out the tutoring site and you can look at the schedule and book individual tutoring appointments. For D2L technical help, call them if the website's not working. If there's anything related to the content, that's all me. Accessibility standards, you can check that out. You should be able to navigate the web. By this point, you're in 2454. You should be able to do all these things perfectly fine. Any sort of accessibility concerns, check out the Microsoft accessibility page. Our technology appropriate use regulations. Don't do stupid stuff with college resources or you'll lose access to those college resources. It's really hard to take an online asynchronous class if you don't have access to Desire to Learn because you've done stupid things with college resources. Okay, so please just don't do it. For netiquette, I am very informal, but please still be polite. These are some good tips here. And be kind to each other. There's no excuse for harassment or any sort of stuff to your fellow students. Public safety is happy to provide public safety services. Again, we're online asynchronous. Probably not going to be an issue for us, but check out their site if you want more information. For me, the expectation is I'll have stuff graded within a week of when it was due, not when it was turned in, but the due date. If you've seen any of my online reviews, I am terrible at this. I apologize. I am working at getting better. I'm not planning on having a baby this semester, like happened over the summer semester. So hopefully we'll be better and I can keep up and things should go well with that. In terms of responding to communications within 24 hours or less, email, call, text, Discord message, pretty much I'll get back to you relatively soon. If you haven't heard within 24 hours, please contact me again. It's possible I just lost it in the pile or my son playing on my phone swiped something away that he shouldn't have. He loves YouTube Kids on my phone and I'll admit I let him watch. So if I missed it, please contact me again. You're not pestering me. You're not bothering me. I just missed it. You're more than happy to have you remind me and ask me about it again. So generally I get back to you pretty quick. So if you haven't heard from me, ping me again. And then our tentative schedule for the class. Again, we start Thursdays midnight and we end Wednesdays 11:59 p.m. and that's our cadence for the week. So we do course introduction and tools this week. Next week we start getting into actual PHP work Our lab here has us making a PHP site that's like installing a tool and running an echo command. It's not really doing anything in PHP, but I want to make sure you can get the tools working if you want to install them yourself, or you know how the virtual desktop works. The virtual desktops, I do need to caution you, though, don't save anything. So when you log out, everything is gone. So you need to make sure you're either saving to an external flash drive, or my preferred method, save them to your Git repository. I will get on all of that in the next video. So we'll get into PHP. We take a couple chapters at a time. The databases we take a little slower. There is no prerequisite of having our Intro to Database Systems course. So I will walk you through all the database things that we need. I'll help you build the databases using our MySQL tool. But we're going to learn how to use code to interact with databases, because that's basically how every web application works nowadays, is they're getting information from somewhere, and the places we store information are databases, because that's the right place to store information. So we'll get into that, and then we'll start looking at some better model view controller MVC design patterns. We don't get into debugging until later, because it's actually a little bit complex. Sweetheart, this is my kitten. She is, how old are you now? She was born April 1st. She's an April Fool's kitten here. So that puts her at 5 months old now. But she loves to be on my lap all the time, and hopefully doesn't jump on my keyboard, because that is kind of annoying. But this is Stella. So my kids named the kittens that we found out in the garage, and they talked me into keeping them. So I have 6 cats and 7 children. We also have a bearded dragon in my son's room. My daughter has fish. My other daughter has a bunny. It's kind of crazy here, but I'm in my basement office and it's nice and quiet here, so it works out for me. And we'll finish up PHP about mid-semester here, and then we'll switch over to Java. So we'll start with all the PHP, the new stuff here, and then we'll switch back over to Java, see how to do similar things in Java land, working with servlets, Java server pages, some object-oriented review. The midterm happens to fall on the week I am out of town at Disney World with the family, because I get to make the schedule. That just kind of works out well for me. That's the perk of being the prof. So we'll do some review. I'll give you last semester's midterm to review, and then you'll have the midterm. Again, it's untimed, so you can start it anytime during the week, finish it anytime during the week. As long as you get it in, we're good. We'll finish out some advanced Java stuff, and then we will start the final project in November. And then around 12/15 or so, hopefully, a day or two before then, you can present your final projects to me. So I do need you to present them. Again, I ask you to talk about it. You go through, show me that all the features work, and we'll do that over screen share, probably Zoom or Discord, and I'll schedule those with you. Now, I do like when you folks work in pairs on the final project. I think you end up with a better product at the end. I know that's a little hard sometimes in the asynchronous world, but that's kind of how the industry works more and more nowadays, as we're less and less in offices, especially when it comes to software engineers. We realize you don't necessarily have to be there. We have all these great tools for working collaboratively without being in the same physical room. So I'd recommend you work in pairs, but I'm not going to require it. But hopefully you can partner up with somebody. You've met your classmates here through the lab assignments, working with each other, and you find someone you want to work with. But if not, that's okay. I get it. No big deal. But you'll present final projects over Zoom live with me. At some point, we'll schedule that during this last couple days in December here. And that's the plan for the semester. If it does need to change, I'll let you know. Again, it's a tentative schedule. Stella, come on, sweetheart. That is the wrong thing here. Okay. So if it does, no, stop being on my keyboard. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. She needs a lot of attention right now. I haven't fed them yet. I need to do that tonight. So that's the plan for the semester. So I'm looking forward to spending this fall with you. Please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. You can contact me. You can post in the questions and answers forum. You can post in the Discord channel. You can, any way you want to reach out and let me know. If something's not clear for you, I can guarantee it's not clear for someone else. There's 30 of you folks this semester taking the class. So if you have a question, I prefer the public places for you to ask it, because then someone else will, just like if we were in class and you raised your hand and asked the question, someone else will hear your question and hear the answer, and they'll learn something too. So let me know. I'm looking forward to it, and you folks take care. I will see you around.